You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. So on Tuesday's show, we talked about Walker Howard formally entering the transfer portal, at least formally saying his farewell. And 24 hours later, less than 24 hours later, we know his destination, which, to be perfectly clear, was known a day ago, and that's that he's headed to Ole Miss. So Walker Howard did put out his graphic on social media announcing his commitment to Ole Miss, where he will go play under Lane Kiffin. If you missed Tuesday's show, I would highly recommend that you go back and check it out. I went through a lot of the particulars about the situation with Walker Howard, the decision that he's made, a couple of things that jump to the forefront. Number one, this does validate a lot of what we said, which is Walker Howard wasn't looking for a spot where he was going to go and be given the job. He was looking for an opportunity to compete, something he did not feel like he had at LSU. With both Jaden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier back, Walker was going to be the third-string quarterback, and the third-string quarterback at LSU was not getting any reps with the ones or the offense, quite honestly. There was only, a handful of practices all year where Walker actually practiced with the offense, whereas by and large what you're doing is giving the defense a look, and are you really getting better within the offense if that's the case? So he's going to a place where he's going to be able to compete, but they have an incumbent. So you would assume that he is not going to be starting. Jackson Dart is there, and he is the incumbent, and that you may go, why would you go somewhere where they have an incumbent? Because of exactly what I just said. He wasn't looking to be handed a job. He wanted an opportunity to compete and improve and grow, and that wasn't going to happen, at least in 2023 at LSU. I think there's a couple of ways to look at this. One is obviously what this means for Ole Miss, and two, where does LSU go from here? Now, I got a tweet earlier today, a guy named Bill Hodges on Twitter, and by the way, I don't think that his point of view is any different than the point of view a lot of people had. He's just the guy that tweeted me, so I did reply to him. He said, Matt, I just listened to LSU Daily. By the way, so I put yesterday's show open where I talked about Walker Howard on the LSU Daily podcast. Would highly recommend you go subscribe up on your favorite podcast app. He said, good stuff. So basically, Jaden returning ruined our chance for Walker to stay. That love for a veteran quarterback just bit LSU in the behind for the future. That sucks. Okay. A couple things. Number one, Jaden returning isn't what ruined the chance for Walker to stay. Jaden and Nussmeier returning is what did that. And I would submit to you that before the second half of the Georgia game and the bowl game, there was a really good chance that Garrett Nussmeier would have found himself in the portal. And if Garrett Nussmeier had left, Walker would still be here. So I fundamentally disagree with this line of thinking for a couple of reasons. Number one, this is an inarguable point. In 2023, if you say you can have Jaden Daniels or Walker Howard, 100 bajillion %, 100 times out of 100, give me Jaden Daniels. Give me the fifth-year quarterback who started 40-plus games, who just accounted for 3,800 yards, who was 70% of your offense this year. Give me that guy 100 times out of 100 in 2023. LSU, I'm going to say this very clearly, LSU is a national title contender in 2023. That's not pie in the sky. You return your entire offense, a really good defense, and you loaded in your front seven. Okay? I'm not saying LSU's going to win it. I'm not saying they're a favorite to win it. What I'm saying is they are a legitimate contender. LSU is going to be a preseason top 10 team in America. So if you're moaning about your fifth-year senior quarterback returning and a freshman leaving, you're missing it. Because you're better in 2023 with Jaden Daniels than with Walker Howard. Okay, that's one. Two, all the people bemoaning that are all the people that are high on Nussmeier as well. So what this means is Nussmeier is staying. and he becomes your heir apparent for 2024 and possibly 2025. So that's a good thing, which if you get your way and Nussmeier stays and goes on to be great and all that stuff, you wouldn't even see Walker until 2026, and what's to say he'd even be here? That's why Walker had to look at his situation and say, I'm going to jump now. And similarly, Garrett Nussmeier had to make his decision. So if you look even to 2025, let's say hypothetically, Jaden in 23, Nussmeier in 24, let's say Nuss leaves after 24 and goes to the pros. Well, in 25, if you don't have Nussmeier, you'd have Ricky Collins, provided he's still here. You'd have Colin Hurley, who we heard on the show earlier this week, who people are very excited about. Whoever the freshman is that you'd sign in the 2025 class. And if you need a transfer, go get one. Let me remind you, over the last decade, Zach Mettenberger, Danny Etling, Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, your most successful quarterbacks have all been transfers. Just like you lost Walker Howard in the portal, you can gain a quarterback in the portal. And every year, there are talented players that can either be a long-term solution or a one-year stopgap solution in the portal. So if you have to supplement there, do it when the time comes. But the thing that you have to sort of recalibrate with respect to quarterbacks in college football today is, yes, you need to sign one in every class, but quarterback is truly a year-to-year proposition because anybody can leave at any point, but you can similarly gain anybody at any point. The likelihood of somebody waiting 4 or 5 years to play now in college football, it just doesn't happen. So, yes, you sign that young quarterback because maybe you land on the Bryce Young. Maybe you land on the Trevor Lawrence. Maybe you land on the guy that's the young phenom ready to start right away and hits and goes kaboom and is a 3-year starter and wins a couple of natties. Or maybe they don't develop, or maybe you have a transfer that starts for a year and then you get that guy as a second year. But whatever. You sign one every year, but you reassess quarterback every year. It's just the way you have to do it. So you have to recalibrate how you think about that position. But LSU in 2023, if I put this to a vote to LSU fans, in 2023, for this season, would you rather Jaden Daniels or Walker Howard? The answer is easy, and it should be unanimous. And then you worry about the future before. So that line of thinking, I think, is fundamentally flawed. If you're thinking, man, well, we got the veteran quarterback back, but that screws us for the future. Don't worry about the future. Worry about the now, because you're going to have options next year in the portal, and the year after that, and the year after that, and so on. One other thing that I want to put on your radar. I don't think Ole Miss is done yet at quarterback. And this is where, I think for a lot of LSU fans, it's going to get a little hairy if Spencer Sanders ends up signing with Ole Miss. With all the Walker Howard stuff that really started percolating, I did a lot of digging with a lot of people I know that cover Ole Miss over the weekend, and they are still very, very much in the running for Spencer Sanders. Spencer Sanders is the fifth-year senior who just entered the portal from Oklahoma State, and Auburn's after him, and Ole Miss is after him. And there's a pretty good feeling like he might be an Ole Miss lean. And I'm going on the record with this. Don't be surprised if Spencer Sanders picks Ole Miss. And then you have Sanders, Dart, the incumbent, and Walker Howard. And you could say, well, Walker's going to be in the same position. In that situation, I think Jackson Dart hits the transfer portal. So, again, it's not decided, and we'll see what Spencer Sanders ends up doing. Maybe he goes to Auburn. Maybe they throw him a boatload of money. Or maybe Florida right now. Jaden Rashada entered asked out of his letter of intent. Maybe they look for another player, a veteran player. They got Graham Mertz from Wisconsin. But don't be surprised if Spencer Sanders ends up at Ole Miss. And if he does, I think Jackson Dart hits the portal. And then it's a Spencer Sanders-Walker Howard battle in 2023 down there in Oxford. Just something to keep an eye on. So still a lot of moving parts. Today's the last day for players to enter the portal. Remember, once you enter the portal, you can name your spot wherever. But if you're going to go through spring practice, you got to be enrolled for spring classes in the spring semester. So all those decisions should be coming down soon. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.